5 years, $92.5 million here for Josh Naylor. Feels, I guess, pretty fair for both sides. Coming off another big season, he hit 295, 20 homers, and of course, 30 steals, one of the biggest surprise stats in recent years. He was also awesome during his time with the Mariners. He performed very well in T-Mobile Park. So, Scott, this feels like a pretty good marriage for fantasy. Way back on October 3rd, you put out your first base rankings. You had Josh Naylor 8th at the position. Are you sticking with him there?
Yeah, I think so. Now, I am happy with this move because, normally Seattle, you would think that's not a great place for a hitter to be. But as you mentioned, Josh Naylor showed he could handle it in his 26 games at T-Mobile Park, at least during the regular season. 26 games there, 360 batting average, 5 home runs, a 10-15 OPS. I don't think it's going to pose a problem for him as a hitter. And the reason I'm excited about it is I think being with the Mariners, being on that team, had a lot to do with him miraculously stealing 30 bases. Remember, he was already on a pretty good steals pace at the time of the trade. And we wondered, okay, is getting him out of Arizona, leaving the Diamondbacks, is that going to cause Josh Naylor to stop running? But instead, he redoubled his efforts to steal bases. For as out of character as that stolen base pace seemed before the trade, it was only 11 in 93 games. The other 19 came in Naylor's 54 games with the Mariners. So he was running wild with them. And as effective as he was, you'd think it's even more likely to continue with the Mariners. So, having said that, why am I not moving him up? I think the top 7 at first base, we could quibble over the order, but they're pretty much set. I don't feel like there's room for somebody to break into that group. It includes, let me pull it up real quick. So that's Nick Kurtz, Vladimir Guerrero, Pete Alonso, Matt Olson, Bryce Harper, Rafael Devers, and Freddie Freeman. That's the top 7. Who are you taking out? I mean, aside from Kurtz, who's, way up at number 1 among the 7, they all have an established track record of high-end production. And Naylor, he's been pretty good, but the steals were the thing that took him from pretty good to great in 2025. And while I do think his chances of sustaining it are better with the Mariners, it's still a one-off. It's still a one-off, and we can't say for sure that it's going to continue. I think Naylor has, again, a better chance of stealing those bases, so maybe more upside overall now that he's back with the Mariners, but there's still the how steady, how proven, and those other 7 first basemen clearly haven't beaten that regard.
The only other one I think I would maybe argue for Josh Naylor over would be Freddie Freeman, just because Freeman's getting a little bit older. Naylor technically has outproduced Freeman 2 years in a row, just in terms of where he's finished overall the past couple of seasons. But I don't think I'm going to rank it that way. I'm going to rank it the way you have it as well. I think there's going to be a pretty clear top 7, and early ADP does agree with you. So we have those 7 names in order: Kurtz, Vlad Jr., Pete Alonso, Devers, Harper, Olson, Freeman. Freeman going at 58.9 ADP, and then Josh Naylor, you drop down a little bit to pick 71. So there is about a round difference and a pretty clear teardrop between Freeman and Josh Naylor.
I'll note that with that early ADP, we've talked about this, this is coming from NFBC, obviously, and when it's an unsigned free agent, the draft value is greatly suppressed in a way that doesn't seem terribly logical. It's not like they're not going to sign somewhere. So now that Naylor has signed, just the fact that he has a team, you can attach a logo to him now. Is that going to move him up the 13, 14 spots needed to pass Freeman?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
It's possible. I'm not going to change it. I rank Freeman ahead, but also if we're thinking Naylor's stolen base potential gives him higher upside than Freeman, NFBC promotes chasing upside too. So I could see it changing in the ADP. But I want Freeman regardless. It's a narrow gap. The gap is narrowed with this move.
Yeah. And look, even if I miss out on the top 7, I don't really mind Naylor as like a fallback option, or even Vinny Pasquantino for talking about the position as a whole. But, the top 8 to 10 or so at the position does look pretty good there at first base. It falls off quite a bit, but we'll talk about that another day. I put a poll out on our YouTube channel asking over under 14.5 steals for Josh Naylor. This is after the signing, so people know he's back with Seattle. There have been 994 votes, 51% over, 49% under. So that seems to be a pretty good number. Right around 15 is what people are thinking. I lean over. I think with him going back to Seattle, I could see like 16 to 18, somewhere in that range for Josh.
Right. I might put the over under at like 17.5 myself. I mean, it sounds like you nailed it, as even as that poll is, but I think Naylor, my expectation, if I had to lock him into one scenario, it would be that he'll be a useful contributor of stolen bases, particularly for his position.
Yep.
But he won't approach 30 again. So I'm thinking high teens.
All right. Again, that's Josh Naylor headed back to the Mariners on a 5-year, $92.5 million deal. First big move of the offseason. My guess is there won't be much else going on for a while. We get usually some things kind of trickle in November, and then December we'll have the winter meetings, and perhaps we'll see like one or two big signings then.
Like most of the stuff seems to happen during a 3-week period in December. I feel like you get a little more happens in January than November, but the bulk happens in December. So it's coming. I know people get impatient in the off season. Like if it all happened before Thanksgiving, we'd be pretty bored for 3 months. So I don't think it's the sort of thing you need to be sweating.